It's enough. I did not realize that the screen was so big, so I have used big font. I'm Wilbert Berendsen. I wrote Frescobaldi from start, so I'm the, so to say, original creator of it. I started with using Linux and open source software in 1999. 13 April I installed Linux. Certainly, I knew it. 13 April 1999. 1 week before I got married, so I thought, now I should do it because next week I don't have time. So it was a really joyful world. I learned programming on the MSX computer. I wrote machine language, assembly language. I wrote an assembler. That's the WB ASS 2.0. It's written by me when I was 17 or 18. Then I got to the Conservatory for Musical Education. I'm a church organist and a choir conductor. I wrote music using MUP from arcra.com. It's a very fast C-written music typesetter. It writes PostScript, but it didn't satisfy all my needs, so I went to LilyPond, which was somewhat slower. It wrote "Lily was here" at the bottom of my scores, but I learned how to switch that off. That was my first achievement. No, it's a joke. No, then I started using LilyPond for all my engraving needs, and I liked it much because it was also a Dutch program. It's also very nice. Well, I needed an editor to write LilyPond's source in it and to run LilyPond and to view the corresponding PDF and to click on the notes and everything. So I wrote a little plugin for KDE 3. It had a nice editor, IDE, Kate. It had a plugin infrastructure written in Python, so I needed to learn Python because I like the integrated nature of Python. I can fill something, immediately see if it works. It had the plugin infrastructure. This is Lily KDE, was it called, 2007 I think. It uses Ocular part for PDF view, it uses Kate part for the text. Oh no, sorry, this is really Kate KDE, and it's just KDE had an embeddable design, so you could embed other parts of KDE in the application interface. So it's just Kate with Ocular embedded for the PDF view. And it almost looked like Frescobaldi, but it was my idea of how it should work. And so have an editing view, have the PDF view, and just together there's also some sidebar things. KDE offered that kind of functionality. Then came KDE 4 out, and it did not support the plugin for Python plugins in Kate anymore, so that was not maintained. So I was on my own. So I think I switched or forgot one, or maybe. Oh yeah. Well, it's already there. I made a standalone app. So using PyKDE 4, which is the Python binding to KDE, and Qt4, which KDE depends on. And it used Kate part and Ocular part. That was the first Frescobaldi. And it was, I used it and I put it on the googlecode.com. And the name Frescobaldi came on because I had some idea. It was the time that MusicXML was beginning, Michael Good was, and also the MEI initiative. And I was also designing some XML standard. I have some sketches from 2001, and I thought I named it Frescobaldi. I took the frescobaldi.org domain, but I didn't ever do anything with the XML stuff. So my application got the name Frescobaldi, so I had a use for the domain. And I liked, because Sibelius, Brahms, Amadeus, Mozart, they had all the musical score editors which had a composer name. So my program is just a text editor, basically. It runs LilyPond and it shows the output. It became necessary to make the code more modular because only I could find a way, and it was even then quite a hairy code base. Every time KDE updates, it broke some things. So I decided to remove the dependency on KDE 4 libraries and just go with Qt4 from that time, trolltech.com. I made Python files much smaller. I think the old Frescobaldi had 30 or 40 Python files, and some were hundreds of lines long, containing all the features. One of the modules was Li, so to say, not Lie, L-Y, which later became a little separate Python thing. So the next Frescobaldi was 2.00, and it was released Christmas, so I always released it on Christmas, and it was still, I think, maybe it was then on GitHub, I don't know. And others started to contribute. It was very nice because I had the new code design made so that it was very accessible. It's very easy to see where it started and where to add in new features or menu commands. Also the ID in Python, it's interpreted, so if you want something, just write it there and it happens. I designed also everything so that it's very clear what every file does, what every class does. Just no more than 10 methods or some things like that. So it's very easy also later from, oh yeah, that happens there. Well, it's also not very important. During the writing of Frescobaldi, I got some general goals to me. It should not get in the way of the user, so it should not force the user in any way to do things in a certain way. I hate it when a program steers me some direction. So I want it to be plain, and I do something, so that's why I hate Windows. I love the command line because it's just plain black, and I can decide what I'm going to tell the computer to do. But of course, working in an environment in music, it's nice that you can see and click and select and manipulate. Files should be usable without Frescobaldi, so it should work on plain vanilla LilyPond files or whatever kind of framework you choose to pre-process those files. Help the user to write pristine LilyPond files or other frameworks, it doesn't matter actually, but it should Frescobaldi should provide tools to do things like break lyrics into syllables, or to put staccato dots on a certain range of selected notes. That tasks are tedious to do by hand, dus you're error prone. Now you can just click on a note and then click on the trill. And Frescobaldi knows how to write the trill after the note, after the duration, and not on the spot the text cursor is at that moment. So, but then you see how to write a LilyPond file, that's the goal. So it does not want to hide LilyPond just when you write a score with Frescobaldi, you see how it should be done, how it could be done, how to write LilyPond. Yeah, have some wizards for advanced features should that be. Very clear structure in the source code. Design principle that features can be added by just adding lines to the code. Works quite well. And yeah, I'm a hobby programmer actually, but I have done a lot of programming and read also the books about design patterns and everything. So I educated myself. And objects should not live any longer than needed to perform a task, and you should be able to throw them away. So the code is very simple actually, because it became accessible. It was very nice to see that other people wanting features could dive into and find their way. Urs Liska, but also Peter Buur and Richard Cognot, who implemented smooth scroll. He implemented it very methodically correct, but it was very long. I could dense that down to only a very short file with doing the same task later on in a later iteration, but he implemented that feature. And other contributors as well, which I may have forgot now. And of course lots of translators started translating the user interface. And nowadays it's, some statistics. It's for a text editor, it's astonishing lots of lines of code. I don't know why. Okay. But there are still there are nice features. It has a magnifier in the PDF view. I rewrote the PDF view this last year so that it can display anything which is paged if code is written to render a page into a graphic. It uses Poplar to display PDF, but it Could also be, it can also display images, or it could use LibSpectre to display PostScript. That could be done. It has tile-based rendering since these last few months, so you can zoom at a very high level. It has a MIDI player and also a MIDI input. Well, I implemented tile-based rendering, so zooming is incredibly fast and can go very deep into the music zoom to see problems, layout problems. So previously it could only zoom 4 times, and then because it was one image grows so large that the computer would slow it down. And there's a nice dialog which has the possibility to select fonts, music fonts, and see how they happen, how they are rendered in a few example scores, so you can decide what you want to do. It's made by Ulf Liska. There are goals. Frescobaldi parses the text you are typing. It can parse HTML, LaTeX, DocBook, LilyPond, and it also knows how those are embedded into each other. Potentially you can write the HTML with embedded LilyPond and it's highlighted correctly and parsed correctly. I did not do much about the support for LilyPond book, but it should be in Frescobaldi that you can run LilyPond book to produce HTML or tech info or LaTeX to render those files to PDF. But there are some problems. The parser is actually quite fast, but then Frescobaldi also makes a tree structure of all the musical information it finds, and that tree structure is in the Python Li module in li.music. It's used by Peter Buer to implement the MusicXML export we talked about. It's quite good, but if you write plain LilyPond, it works quite well. So Frescobaldi knows when you select a range of music, the duration of that music. So it can know a lot about when you put the cursor somewhere, at what time moment in the music you are. Someone asks for a bar line, automatically it could be done. It's almost there. But that music tree stuff is a bit slow, because every time I type, the whole tree is discarded and rebuilt when I type just a single character, because the tokens are moving or the meaning of the text differs. That's slow and it's causing lags. Also, include files are searched for auto-completion commands. So when you include a file and you start typing something, Frescobaldi sometimes hangs because it sees the included file, it loads it and searches for assignments and variables that are there. So it can provide sensible auto-completion, but it's too slow sometimes. When you have large projects, like we have with the Dutch hymn book, that's there are tens of include files searched every time, and it's cached, of course, but the first time it's very slow. So that should be moved to a background thread. And that's an important decision that has been made, but it has yet to be implemented. I want also better integration with the LilyPond manual. For example, when I start to type a command, override, slur, then I think, what do I need again? There should be a little pop-up saying click for documentation, and so that you can easily go to the documentation of a command that you are typing. So it could be done, but it's not yet implemented. And a major goal is that the user interface should remain simple and clear, like it is, like it was 10 years ago. It should not change actually, just not get in the way. No. I replaced the PDF view part. It can display anything. It can already display SVG. There's also an SGV part, which SVG. No, sorry. A part that can that you can click on the nodes and even move nodes and save the resulting modified graphic. That's also contributed by Peter Buer. It's somehow in its infancy, but it works. The new PDF view part can do much more. It can display pages on top of each other and show a visual div. It's not yet implemented in Frescobaldi, but it can do it. The parser will be replaced because I wanted. The parser was based on Qt, which has a text editing component which is line based, and when you type in a line, that line is re-tokenized. and when the state at the end of the line is different, it goes on to the next lines. I have written a new parser already, which can do it in the background, the parsing of, and it's not line-based, it can any text string separate in tokens. It builds a tree structure and it works very well. I wrote at it these nights till 3 o'clock or something. It will move to Frescobaldi and then it will be improved that it's the slowness with large files. Now there is also in li.xml is a little stuff that can run inside LilyPond and convert a scheme music expression to an XML file. I was thinking about using that back in Frescobaldi to know everything about music in LilyPond, but it's the files are getting very large and probably no, it's just a sketch. I don't know if it really should be used. Well, new parser. I'm off. Yeah. And a large list of other ideas, but it's not really important. Thanks. That's very important to all the users of Frescobaldi who like it and of course help to contribute it. Have good ideas. Thank you. Any questions? Great.
Amazing that someone would actually parse LilyPond completely, and I'm super impressed.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that when you talk about the renewed structure of the coding and the more modular coding, when I first found it, I found it so well structured that I can find my way through it. Actually, I learned Python through that.
Yeah,
the code base is so clear and organized that you can do that.
I would also like to add that a couple of years ago when I was a librarian in my choir and we switched to LilyPond, I managed to do some distributed engraving because I didn't have time to copy all the parts myself, and Frescobaldi was invaluable in getting people who didn't know LilyPond at all to help me, because I created like a 4-page long instructions with basics of LilyPond, and at the beginning was just install Frescobaldi and LilyPond, and it worked. And I think without Frescobaldi, if they had to use text, I would have like write at least another 4 pages.
That's great. Yeah. I actually wrote Frescobaldi for my wife. That's how I can. I don't know how to say. That's why I can speak to my wife. I'm programming at Frescobaldi because I wrote it for her. She never uses it, but I wrote it for someone who does not have a programmer's mind, but wants to write music with LilyPond. So that's nice to hear. Okay. Yeah, and one sentence. We had, it's not really Frescobaldi related, but we used LilyPond to engrave the new songbook of the Dutch Protestant Church. And it has not drawn very much attention, but it actually was a very nice LilyPond project. I studied Keljon, but I did not, I did my stage, I did it about a LilyPond related project. So making beamable pictures of hymns. So we use it all the time. In the Dutch songbook, I think it has 300,000 prints, and it has 1,620 pages, all engraved by LilyPond. And those two, that's there in on the piano. And also the organist's music accompaniments and the choir book are even more pages. And all rendered by LilyPond. So, and I designed a structure with includable files so that it could render all those songs, and you could say a song should be on the left or the right page, and it would fix that. And yeah, it was a really nice LilyPond project. But not strictly Frescobaldi related, but I should mention it, and when you would like to see the book, how the result is, it's quite nice and produced in a very short time. I think within 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very fast.
And the deadline, we offered the errors still after the deadline,
Yeah.
and that was also possible.
Yeah, and you should implement them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Before that, it was a deadline of 1 year. So they offered all the notes, that was 30 years ago, and then they had to wait for 1 year, and then there was the result. And so, yeah, and now it was after the deadline you could still offer.
Yeah. It was a nice showcase of LilyPond. So that's. And I used Frescobaldi to do that, but others
We
didn't, and that's no problem. It's the nice thing of such text files that you can do anything, use any tool you like.
I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I started using LilyPond in 2002 or whatever it was, and used LilyPad until maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. And I knew Frescobaldi was out there, but my momentum was, just writing. I want to learn a new tool. Within days of having finally installed Frescobaldi, I was like, where has this been all my life? Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And to that point, and I guess to the further discussion of does LilyPond have a default editor, I wish, in a certain sense, I wish Frescobaldi or something like it had been forced on me a lot earlier.
Well, you had to get it with the LilyPond tool by Berendsen Fodor, of how was he called again? But he discontinued. But it was a bit slow on my machine because it was Java based, and it was back then I had a small computer. But I took a lot of ideas of his LilyPond tool. So the score wizard, mine is more advanced, but it's modeled after how he did it.
Yeah, so I guess this is more of an open question to the community. Is there, I can't imagine that my experience is unique. That the thing that was installed when I installed LilyPond is just the one that I went ahead and used. And despite the fact that I'm a power user, I just continued to do that without knowing that there was this thing that could really help me. So is it a priority? And I don't know whether this is the right time to talk about it, but is it a priority to give new users something more than what they get by default?
Yeah, but I think Frescobaldi is, for example, when you want to write text documents, you can choose from different options. Even when you really want to write documents in the Microsoft Word format, you have different options. But you never should want to write it because it's a closed format. Of course, we all know that kind of problems. But writing LilyPond files, Frescobaldi tries to be a tool for it, and also attractive for new users and not getting in the way for power users. That's the goal.
I think the way we should likely organize it is to have on our download page at first the recommendation for new users who are mainly interested in writing only a music document and creating music sheets to download and use Frescobaldi. Hopefully Frescobaldi will then at some point be able to download LilyPond on its own.
That will be
and then offer the options for advanced users who want to use their own editor or use LilyPond in contexts with other languages like LilyPond Book or stuff like that. We offer them the pure LilyPond download afterwards. But I think it would be a good idea to have the download page priority with priority point to Frescobaldi as the favorite solution for creating standalone music documents.
Although I'm of course biased towards Frescobaldi, I would also say I would not rush forward to making it the official or integrated environment. It should be a separate project.
Yeah.
And exactly what you're saying, maybe in the introductory text there could also be a more prominent place for it, but actually I think the website is the place to make it more the natural choice for a first-time user, but not by officially integrating it.
No, because you can imagine you use LilyPond in countless of other environments, or even web-based or server-based or whatever. So that is the strength of LilyPond, and that should remain like that. So it is more than just a user-based tool. So
it's also practical. Like we do this on GitHub, and like we're having this whole discussion: should we move to GitHub? And so if you sort of put one inside the other, then both projects are hampered by the other project. So I think keeping them separate is
yeah.
I love that. All sounds like a great solution to me. Thinking back to when I was assuming Frescobaldi was there in 2003, if I had shown up to the website as a new user and it said, these are really two different projects.
So then please look at the website and make a suggestion how that could be organized. You don't need to code it, but to look at from the navigational and user perspective.